About a year ago, last August, I received a text in my inbox from my former administrative assistant at Oakwood University. She simply said this: Mr. Johnson has been trying to reach you. He needs you to call him back. Anybody who knows Mr. Johnson knows that Mr. Johnson is an accountant. and usually you don't want to get a call from Mr. Johnson, because if he's calling you, he's usually calling you to reconcile some unreconciled account. Now, I, having been the former dean at the School of Religion there, the former department chair, I can just imagine Mr. Johnson is probably calling me because there's certain budgets that I had control over, and he probably has some questions for me. There's probably some receipt I didn't turn in. There's probably some policy that I overlooked. There's probably some procedure that I messed up on. And so I figure Mr. Johnson is calling me because he's now calling me into account. I haven't been at Oakwood at that point for a year and a half. Now, I have to admit that I did look down one day and I did see that Mr. Johnson had been trying to reach me. But I looked down and I said, I can't deal with this right now. I just can't deal with this right now. So I just sort of set him aside, because you know how it is. We get kind of busy. I've gotten from Oakwood University. He was going to tell me where I have fallen short and how much I owe and demand payment, because after all, that's what accountants do. They call us out. They show us where we have fallen short. They demand that we pay up. And so often, when it comes to our dealings with God as the accountant, we assume that because he keeps an account of our lives, that he's only calling us up to call us into account and to tell us where we've fallen short. So when I've messed up, I don't want to hear from God. If I've fallen short, I don't want to hear from God. I already know that all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. I already know that there is none righteous, no, not one. I already know that I've messed up. I don't need God to throw that up in my face and remind me of what I've done. So what do? When God calls, I look down, I see that he's called, but I just put it off until later and ignore the call because I don't want to be called out. I am guilty as charged, but I don't want to be reminded of you. So I say, God, check you later. We'll deal with this later. But here's a question for you. What if we have gotten God wrong? What if we have assumed something that is only partially true? What if we have so boxed God in to our expectations that we've boxed them out of our lives? What if we are so certain that we know what he wants from us that we haven't taken the time to learn what he wants? What if, instead of God trying to punish me, what if God's trying to bless me?